I'm back to portrait, aren't I?
Welcome, everyone.
Hi, welcome, everyone. I can't really see the chat because I'm on my phone, so I'm just gonna try and say hi to everyone. Oh, I can see some pop-ups. Hi, Roz. But yeah, they're coming up one by one. So I'm really excited for the class. I'm also really nervous. And to start, it's great that you guys are telling me where you're from, because that's what I was gonna ask, to see where you guys are from. So Montreal. Hi, Jasmine. I'm in Vancouver. And Ottawa. Yay, more Canadians. Oh my gosh, is that my sister? I think I have family on here. NC is North Carolina. I think my manager's on here. More Canadians. Cool. This is awesome. Oh my gosh, Netherlands and Hawaii. I wish I could travel. More West Coast people, more Netherlands. This is so amazing. I guess this time actually worked really well, even for international people. Northwest Florida. Oh, and Maryland. CA. Oh my gosh, there's a Dubai. Hi. Oregon is close to me. First class. Oh, I hope you guys enjoy this as your first class. In New York. Oh my gosh, hi, Irene. I know where you're from. Oh, thank you. I had to wear a Disney shirt for today. Orange, more Hawaii. Hawaii is, I think, like a few hours, 1 hour behind me. Wow. I wish I could see. Hey, Kelly. I wish I could see everybody that joined. But this is so cool. New Mexico. Hi, Kat. I know. I miss seeing people so much. I can't wait to go back to like planner events. Just hug everybody when we're all vaccinated. She is sleeping, hopefully. Hi, Jody. I think I can actually see. Wow. Yeah, baby Munchkin is sleeping. Husband is taking care of her. You guys might hear some crying, but overall she's okay. Hi, Mona. There's my other sister. So weird. Hi. Oh, everybody from my Facebook group is here as well. Yeah, baby Munchkin's sleeping. Am I dropping? I'm just gonna adjust my camera slightly so you guys can hopefully see my face a little better. All right. I think it's showing my face. So I guess we're just waiting for everybody to join. Got all my stuff ready. Thank you. I showered this morning. It's been like 3 days since I've showered, so I felt kind of nice.
I think we could probably get started if you want.
Oh, really? Okay, great. Okay, so I think we have people in the class now. This is more just planning with me. I don't have, like that amazing techniques to teach, but I hope you guys, just find some inspiration. I'll be using the Recollections sticker book, and then we had the 5 brand new sticker books that I released as a collaboration with Michaels and Craftsmith. And if you guys don't know, I do all these designs. I doodle everything. My characters are called munchkins, so they're kind of like these blobby little people. I used to draw stick people, but I wasn't great at drawing them, and that's why I ended up kind of like drawing the outline of stick people, and then that's how my munchkins came to be. So We have 5 brand new sticker books. They are all available at Michael's. And just so you guys know, Michael's always has like a kind of like a, I think it's like a 20% off one item coupon code or 15% off. So you can use that to pick these up. I'm in Canada, so I don't really know how ordering from online is, but from what I've heard from people, they seem to say that ordering online, these are available online as well, and you can get them shipped. So today I'm going to start by showing you the materials that I have. I've shown you guys my planner. This is the vertical planner, which I always plan vertically, just how my brain works. So I'm using this vertical one from Recollections. And then I've got my actual day planner. So whenever I do vertical planning, it's actually more like a scrapbook for myself. And I use it for kind of like a memory keeping book, whereas my daily plans go in something more like this. So it's a lot messier, but this way I can jot things down quickly. I don't forget it. And then I transfer all this material to that. So I've got this with me just so I can refer to that. I have my pens. This one is the one that I'm going to be using. This one is just one of the pens that I designed for Michael's as well. And it's a little felt tip pen. I've also got my decapitator. This is a slice tool and it's a really great cutter. It's like a ceramic tip cutter that you can use to cut stickers. I have a scissor, my ruler, my washi card. I use this card just to tear washi. I can also measure out washi with this because I drew the lines on here. I'll show you guys how to use that in a bit. Another pen. And then I also love having a kind of like almost like a brush pen so that I could do some lettering in my planner. I did bring a tweezer just in case I needed it, but typically I use my fingers for everything. So if you guys have any of your favorite stationery tools, you can grab them out and plan with me. The other things that I did pick up are, so these are some of my old Michael's sticker books. I am going to be picking out stickers from here. We had some food, coffee, functional cleaning one, and also a holiday seasonal one, which is great. And then I have my own stickers. So this is a huge stack of stickers. So these are my own stickers that I've organized, and I will be grabbing stickers from there often as well. Some other things that I have a washi from Simply Gilded. I love her washi, and some things that I'm going to be using to set up my planner are these. So I've got some extenders from Swirl Pins Co. I'll show you guys how to use that. A little mini sticker book just for my shop as well. All right, so I'm going to get started. I'll show you the sticker book that I selected for today. I've actually decided to plan my Valentine's spread. I totally didn't do that yet, so I'm going to do Valentine's, and it's nice because it's Valentine's plus Chinese New Year's this year, so it was the same week. And for that week, I think the best one I would use is probably, we have 5 different sets. This one is like a self-care relaxed one, so I'm going to be using this for that week. We also do have a fairy tale theme one. This is an animal, like a pet one, travel one. I'm so sad. I don't know when I'll get to use that. And then a desserts one, which I'm going to save for later this summer. So the one I picked out is this one, and I'll show you guys what we have in here. Lots of full boxes, and I love gold, so the gold foiling is totally me. Lots of lettering, and some functional stuff, some circle icon stickers, and then some bottom washi. These are some more functional stuff, some weekly things on here, some labels, which are really helpful, some checklists. I love the gold, and then some more bottom washi. These are so cute. I love the little stars. Some icons for doodles. These strips are great for the side. And then we have some more functional icons. And then let's see, there are tons of stickers in here. So these are a great deal because you can use these so many times. These are some flags and some lists, reminders, errands, some larger stickers, and some bill due stickers. So last page is, they're like more neutral doodles, which I really love. They make the colors pop up really nice. So in order for me to see this a little better, I'm actually going to be pulling these stickers out of the books. This might be horrifying to some of you guys, but I'm planning to put these into my other, like place them into my other sticker books anyway, so this is okay. All right, got everything except the last page, which I don't know if I can, I might just leave that little guy in here. Okay, so I've got all these stickers. I know for sure that I'm going to be using the full boxes, so I'm just going to set that aside right now. And then my bottom washi. And just so you guys know, usually I am not great at speaking and writing at the same time because I end up writing what I say. So I might go quiet when I'm writing, but I'll try my best to talk through everything. And to start, I personally, so I always have a fresh page and I like to choose a theme for the week. And of course, the theme for this week is the relaxed one. And I like to set up the foundation of my planner, just things that I don't really have to think about. So for example, my date covers, I set this up already. I put the dates in here. These are from Squirrel Prints Co. They just come as a sheet like this. So I like to put in my own dates and I can cover these up. I actually have to do that for this planner too, because this one is like the 2022 one. So I have to cover up the dates. And I know that I start on the 8th. So I like to set up the dates on the top and then all the kind of like the skeletons of the planner before I get into writing anything or doing the daily stuff. I feel like this way it helps me organize and just kind of like when I'm feeling lazy, it's a nice way to get started without too much thinking. So some people like to stick stickers, like smaller stickers like this down with their tweezers, but I just use my hands. I feel like tweezers I'm not that great at fumbling with them. And then the bottom is usually the next step that I do. So the strips are pretty long and they're great because you can use them in scrapbooks or anything. And I like them because I can cut them up to whatever size I need. And then the extras that I have, I just save them for some other part in my planner. So for example, I like to line up the bottom washi. I'd like to do 2 strips down here. This one, I'm actually going to do the stars on the bottom. I think it's a nice, cute one. And I'm going to pull it all the way. So I like to hold this down. I use my right hand to adjust it. I pull away all the way to the right. Got my ruler and my cutter here. So I just cut it straight to the edge. You don't have to press super hard. I just gently run this over and then it comes off like that. You can save it on your hand, or if you have a sticker book, I've got these reusable sticker books in my shop. You can also save them on here. So I'll do that for now. And then the top side, I'm gonna start using this one. So I don't love too much color. I kind of like a little bit of contrast. And since I've got the stars on the bottom, I'm just gonna put this right above it. And then I'll probably add some doodle stickers on here. So again, I'm cutting this off. I will save this for just a little bit later. And then on the left side, I'm gonna do the same thing because I like when things match. So I'm gonna use this strip. If you're super creative, you could totally go for something different. And then I'm gonna stick it down here. And you can decide, so usually the left side, depending on how busy I know my week is, I can choose to go all the way to the end, or I can cut it off here and have a little extra space there. I think for this, I might just do all the way to the end and I'll cut that off. So I'll flip my planner around to do this so I can do everything with my right hand. And cut it off right here. Okay. And then this is the other strip. The size of, I actually don't know the exact size of the planner. I'll try to answer questions if I see them pop up, but most of the time if I'm looking down, I might miss your question. I'll flip to the front in a sec. So I'm doing this and then I save that. Okay, so I've got my date covers and the bottom set up. Here, the size of the planner is 7.5 by 9.25. And then now I like to set up the left side of the planner. And usually for that, I like to pick something just kind of like that tells me about the whole week. So this one is a great sticker. I don't really love writing up here, so I usually have something that has a quote. I put the quote on the top here. I like to leave the February just because it does tell me what month this is. So I'm gonna not cover that up, but I will cover the 2022. And then since I have these leftover ones, I thought it was kind of cute. I'm just gonna use it here. And the great thing is I have this washi card, which I've drawn out the size of a full box. It's pretty much the same size as these stickers. If I put it down here, I know where it ends. So I can also, if you didn't want to use your cutter, you could also tear it up like this. So that's another way to tear it. This sheet I'm gonna save for a little later. So I will pop this sheet back in here. All right, and then I'm gonna set up the rest of my sidebar. So this is what I call a sidebar in your planner. I like using this space to write down everything that's kind of happened for the week. I have trackers that I think will look great in here. It's usually not like day specific, it's more just a summary that I have for the week. And then when I'm looking back on my planner, it's easy for me to see exactly what I did without having to look through every single thing that I did. All right, and then I know this week was Chinese New Year's and also Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna probably write that down somewhere. I'll do a box for Valentine's. Actually, I think Chinese New Year's came first. Yeah, so I'll do Chinese New Year's and then I'll do another box for Valentine's Day. Let's do a pink one for Valentine's. Actually, I had my Simply Gilded washi. I kind of wanted to divide her up some things. So her washi is awesome. You've got, these are perforated. So let me see if I can find the edge. If you pull this up, all you have to do is they're already pre-cut for you to the right size. So you just tear this off. And I'm going to be mixing the gold into here. So this would be a cute divider for Valentine's. And then I have to find something that fits at the very bottom, which probably one of these would fit really well. Perfect. So I know I have, assuming I have a baby now, so this one is kind of like a struggling munchkin. That's pretty much me with no sleep. So I'm going to put that down here. Okay, so I've got that set up. I like to fill this in at the end. So I like to set it up first, but I like to fill it in at the end just because that way I can pull things from my whole entire week that I know that I want to kind of like highlight over here. So to start, let's just go Monday, Tuesday, like the whole week. And I prefer having, I usually like having one box, like a one larger size box every single day. I think it's just a really nice balance. So I will start with, let's see, here is a nice purple box. I'm going to start with this one over here. So some people like using these headers and you can divide your day into morning, lunch, and dinner, or you can do like today, things to do, your meal planning. I don't plan that way because this is more like a scrapbook. So what I do is I like to cover up the headers, and so you can't really see that. And then I have some other functional stickers. So Monday is always full of work, lots of catch up. We don't check emails over the weekend. We don't do customer service over the weekend. So on Mondays, that's when we catch up with all that. So I've got some stickers that I've pulled out. I'll show you guys real quick. I actually use these sticker books from my shop that I organize all my stickers in. I like these books because basically I slide in my own categories. So for something like that, I can do a work category. So this book is all full of work stickers and it's just easy for me to find. And I've already pulled some out so that I can do the planning a little quicker. But otherwise I would find this in my workbook. So here is work on Mondays. And then usually we have a long to-do list on Mondays. So I will try and find my to-do list stickers. Oh, here they are. Okay, this is awesome. These ones are great. And I probably want a gold one. So I know that's too long. And I'm just gonna put in let's do some contrast. So I'm gonna put in a purple header here where I can write the to do, and then I can fit 3 boxes in there. So I will cut this up like that and save that for later. Oh, that's not very straight. Okay. And I will stick that down here. And that's my to-do list for Monday. Then I've got, let's do this one I already used pretty recently. So I like to mix things up a bit. I don't love it when things are like perfectly next to each other. I also don't love it when colors are perfectly next to each other. This is all personal preference. So you guys can absolutely choose how you like. Oops. And then I like to put a box down here. Sometimes even when it's just white space, that's totally fine because you can use a sticker, kind of like one of these icon stickers, and you can stick them right there. And then nighttime, I've just got a simple moon. There we go. Okay, so now I can fill in my Monday quickly. I brought this here that I can refer to. So not making this up, guys. I'm really actually got these. And because I'm right-handed, I don't like writing on the coil. So I do have to do this so that my hand isn't, like it's not blocked by the coil. Monday, we have emails, always customer service emails. So CS emails. You can pull in some icons. Ooh, I think there were some mini flags that I thought were super cute. Is this one of them? They're at the top of one of these pages. Okay, there. Let's do the purple. So here's a purple mini flag. Just a little bit extra to highlight it. And then the to-do list. So I can put in things to do. We have to pack orders on Monday. So lots of orders to ship, pack, mail pickup. And then what's the last thing? Check PO box. Check PO box. Okay. So these stickers are pretty specific to kind of like a shop. So I don't have any of those designs in my Michaels set. So I know I have to pull from my sticker book here. This is my work sticker book. Pack orders. Here's the Munchkin packing orders. I have some of these stickers in my shop. My website is just oncemorewithlove.com. So if you're interested, you can check that out. And then, all right, that's good for my to-do list. Ooh, I bought stuff for Sophie. So do I have dog stickers on here? No, I don't have my dogs. I picked up some stuff for Sophie. I'm gonna use like this sticker, and then just stick it. I'm actually gonna cover that up because I know, okay, so I've decided since I'm covering that up, I'm gonna flip this around. Just so there's kind of a little variety in where my stickers are. So if I stick this on the right side, I kind of like doing this on the left. I can put this up here and I just write down treats. Treats for Sophie. Okay, that's great. And then the next thing is I went on a walk with the baby. So I already pulled out a stroller. Wow, this is so hard to find. Where's my stroller? I literally, oh, there it is. So this is a sticker from One on a Million. Again, I'm gonna alternate the stickers just because that's the way I like it. So, and then I went on a walk with baby. Her name is Charlotte. And then following that, we had a dance party. We were probably trying to put the baby to sleep, but instead of sleeping, my husband and I tried salsa dancing and see if that would jiggle her to sleep. So that's what happened that day. Family time dance party. And the other thing is, so you don't always need stickers for lettering. You can also kind of change the way you write just to make your planner look a little bit different. If you're actually using it as a pre-planner, that might be a little hard, but for memory keeping, it's pretty easy for me to know what to write down here. So dance party with husband. Okay, and then late night. This is late night because she didn't sleep that great. She doesn't sleep great at all. And lately she's been so much better. Like we started sleep training her, but back in February, life was very different. Okay, so now we are on to Tuesday. And it says here that I slept in. I'm gonna have to find some sleeping in stickers. These in here. So here's my motivational set. Actually, for sleeping in, I feel like there's definitely some sleeping in ones in here. Probably here, lazy day. This is perfect. So that's my sleeping in. I can use a gold on the top. I can actually use one of Irene's washis on the top. So just gonna cover up this header. Since I don't use it, I need to cover it up. Some people they like whiting it out. That's fine as well. But I typically don't use whiteout in my planner. And then lazy day because I slept in. Okay. My sister actually got a mole removal surgery that day. Kind of random, but we can put something down for her. And okay, so one other thing I want to tell you guys is I don't like my boxes, the large boxes especially, next to each other. So since this is there and this is down here, I kind of think that my next box will be over here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find my sheet which has the large boxes. Here it is. And I will stick one, probably this one. No, I don't like pink next to pink. Okay, I'm gonna do green. Okay, so this is a green big box, just sticking it over here to block off the things. And then I'm gonna write down that my sister had her mole removal surgery. Let's use a purple for it. Yeah, purple is good. Sorry, Mona, if you're watching this, I'm telling everybody about your life. And I don't really know what sticker to use for a surgery. I guess maybe a emotional one. I'm just gonna pick out one of my munchkins. Yeah, I don't really know what emotion I could use for that. Maybe a yay? Sure. Okay, so this is a sticker from Stick With Me Shop. She has Tofu the Panda. It is super cute. I think she's on Etsy. And Mona mole surgery. Okay. Next thing is I can actually put down a label just to write down what I did for work that day. I designed vinyls apparently. So here's design vinyls, and then oh, no wait, this planner is not right. Okay, it says Chinese New Year's down here and it totally freaked me out for a sec, but that is not the correct Chinese New Year's. I'm gonna use a darker color at the bottom. So I'm gonna cover up Chinese New Year because that is on a different day. And then I'm just gonna put this down here to cover up Groundhog Day because that probably was on a different day as well. Okay, what else did I do that night? FaceTime Lisa. So where's my FaceTime sticker? I picked out, this is just a FaceTime munchkin. And I'm gonna stick that down here. My other sister is in Edmonton. So I have to FaceTime her to show her the baby. FaceTime Lisa. There we go. And then in between that, Charlotte was unputdownable, apparently, is what I wrote. So let's do I have an exhausted sticker on here? I must have one somewhere. There's so many designs. All right, let's do this. We can do a sleeping munchkin. And then I'm gonna pop that right in here to alternate the stickers. And then I'm just gonna write down that she was pretty much impossible. Unput down. Okay, and then in the middle of everything, this is basically work. So I'm just gonna find a large work sticker. I can find my sticker book. Okay, there we go. So Tuesdays, I try to design stuff. Doesn't always happen. Maybe I will use, here, let's use a giant, this is a whimsical cat sticker. So I do like buying stickers from a whole bunch of different shops. Just because it's like, I feel like it's really cute to decorate, and it's nice to have like the skeletons of my whole kit, and then I like to like add on to that with other stickers. So I'm actually gonna cover up the tiny little strip down here, just because I don't need that. Maybe I'll cover it up with this actually. There. Okay, so that's green. And that covers that up. And I have a sticker that is for design. Do I have a design? Yes, I do. Here. Perfect. This gold foil matches mine perfectly. So I'm gonna put this one on. This one is just a foil sticker from Squirrel Prince Co. So there's Tuesday done. And Wednesday I am going to put, I know for sure I want one of these over here to cover this up. I have my big box down already, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm gonna put down a checklist actually. What color will work? I think I'll do purple. And just so that I don't have to write on the coil, I'm actually gonna do the writing on here first. So, oh my goodness, okay. Wednesday was a mess. Okay, I had to order envelopes. Let's do envelopes, check emails. This is all work related. Design and set up listings. So many things that it's kind of like a daily running to-do list. So it's not even really hard for me to remember this stuff anymore. It's just pretty much every single day. So mail pickup is here as well. And then we are going to print labels, order labels. So all my work stuff just jotted down on here. And I'm gonna put this into, maybe I'll use a divider. Okay, so what I'm going to do is so I have this from earlier. I'm gonna stick this down here just to cover up the gray area. And oh, where's my trusty washi card? Okay, that's fine. I can use my ruler as well. And I'm just gonna rip this up here. And then I'm gonna stick this over so that there's no gray strip showing up in between my, and then since I have a spot over there, I'm just gonna fill that in with a work sticker again. Actually, no, I've got some icons I know I had a page of icons, so this is great. This is perfect. There are so many things on here. Where's my, let's see, emails? Come on, let me see. I can find you. All right. Apparently I can't find anything on here, so this is so hard. I feel so nervous. I'm just going to use a little arrow there. That was priority. And then I'm going to work through the morning. The morning I did some more sleeping in. So I pick out my sleep in stickers from here. This one's perfect. I'm 108% tired. So I'm going to use this munchkin, 108% tired. And I will put that up at the top, but I have to cover up the top with something. So what I'm going to do is maybe, do I want to use this sticker? Yeah, I might do this. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one down and I'm gonna cut off what I don't need. Just probably here. And I can just, no, this is too big. So once the sticker is pretty big like that, I think it's much safer for you to use the slice tool. And then that way it comes off a lot cleaner. And then I'll put that tired plus sleep in. I should have written this in earlier, but it's okay. Sleep in. Okay. Oh, that's so amazing. You can use stamps. Yeah, so some people like using stamps in their planners, but I'm so bad at cleaning stamps. The ink smears everywhere and I feel like maybe I don't have the right materials or something. So maybe one day I'll get back into stamps. And then priority today, what did I do? Oh, crib, move crib. So move crib. So that's just a nice label sticker for something that you have to prioritize. You don't have to write anything down yourself. You just have to put down the thing that you did. And then I also cut vinyls again. So apparently I designed vinyls that week. I did pick out a sticker already. So I'm just gonna put this down and then in between, never mind, I'm gonna put a decorational sticker in between. In between that, I should have used this. I knew it. I should have done this. So I'm gonna actually take this up. If you peel up your stickers gently enough, they should come up cleanly. So I usually find that's enough for me to do. I never really had to use undo, but if you have undo, that works as well. You just pour it onto the sticker and then it should get rid of the adhesive. So then you can pull up your sticker. So there you go. Just a nice little background so that I can put my cut sticker on. Layering stickers is always kind of nice because you can, it's just a really cute way to do things. And then the final part is, I know my mom cooked that night, and to prevent having to write on here, I will stick that right over here. Mom cooks. I may have to cover that up. Actually, I have a Fox and Pip sticker, so I'm just going to cover up that munchkin because that doesn't actually fit what I'm trying to write. And then I'm going to do an arrow. Where did I put my pen? Oh, here. Okay, so mom cooks. Okay, so that's just for the night. Super simple. I finished the first half of the week, and then I'm going to move on to the second half of the week. And to plan the second half, I personally find it easier if I flip the planner so that there are fewer pages on the right. So that way it's more like I can just continue writing and then the bulk of my pages are on the left. And that's just something that I figured out. Hopefully, if you guys are right-handed or left-handed, you can do it the other way around. But hopefully that's something that helps you as well. All right, so of course I need my large sticker sheet. Where'd you go? And let's see what I did on my Thursday. Ooh, okay, so Thursday is Lunar New Year's Eve. It's Chinese New Year's for me, so I will put that down here. quill is kind of in my way actually. Okay, might need a few more pages on this side so that it's a little balanced. Okay, there. So this is for Chinese New Year. And then I've got to put down my giant sticker, which let's go with this one. Nice green for contrast. Apparently Charlotte slept well. I got to see my friend's baby who was just born, so that was really exciting. I can use a pink sticker here. Charlotte slept well, which means I got rest. So this rest sticker from the Michael set is great. Oh, sorry, I'm knocking the table. Darn, I have to cover that up again. So where's my trusty washi? I feel like my table always ends up in a mess. Okay, we can just go back to maybe this sheet. Oh, this is super cute. This is something. So this is a really big sticker, but I think that's a really nice background for things. So I'm actually going to lay that all the way down and cut it off down here. Okay.
Margaret, someone wants to know where your ruler's from.
Oh, my ruler is, I got this from Taiwan. I'm sorry, I don't, it's not, I feel like I got this from like a dollar store from Taiwan. I think you can find these kinds on AliExpress, and I always forget to use the metal side, but the metal side is great when you're using against a cutter. So that way you're not cutting off plastic. But yeah, I found it in Asia when I was traveling. So I've got this. Yeah, I know it sucks. I hate it when people answer that because I'm like, oh, that means I can't get it. But yeah, Asia has really good stationery. Okay, so I've got that. I can put this sheet down, just overlay it. And then now I have a nice little background kind of for the back. And then Charlotte had rest. So I'm going to put down another layer and then stick this over top. Oh, that's pretty big. Oh, I should have put it down the other way. Dang it. Okay, never mind. I'll just keep it like that. Too much effort. And then the last thing is I wanted to put a mini checklist in here. So I think I can fit a 3. I'm just gonna cut that off into 3s. If these sizes don't work for you, it's pretty easy to kind of like customize the stickers by slicing them yourself. And then that way you can get the sticker size that you need. Okay, so there's my Thursday. And Chinese New Year, it was the year of the cow. So I had a cow sticker. Actually, it's the year of the ox. I always say that wrong, but year of the ox. Chinese New Year's Eve. So I'm just gonna fill that in. Happy CNY. Chinese New Year's Eve. Charlotte slept pretty well, so I wanted to write that. Maybe I'll put that here, but I will stick the baby on this side too. Charlotte slept well. Okay, great. Which means I got rest, and that is awesome. Try to put, maybe it's because she liked her crib actually. Now that I'm looking at this planner, I feel like that's probably it. Don't know why I never figured that out. And then I visited my friend's baby. So, okay, on here it also says Charlotte sat by herself. OMG. I guess that's what happened that day. So she actually started sitting. She's been doing things pretty fast, which is really weird because like she is 6 weeks premature, but She kind of seems to be keeping up, which is nice, but other things like feeding, she is terrible at. So we are trying to work on that. And then, this is a relaxed sticker. So I think what I'm going to do is put down the easy tasks that I had for that day. And I had to list items for the shop. So my new releases are typically on Fridays. So let's just put this one down in here. And then times, it was 12 new releases. I'm gonna put an icon on here. There's just some extra space. Or how about a little star? Okay, I'm gonna put down a star just to fill that in. And then the bottom is just things that we did for the night. So Chinese New Year's dinner, mom cooks again. I'll put a munchkin sticker on. Just pick this one out. It's a cooking munchkin. So mom cooks. And red pockets, of course. Now that I'm married, I don't get red pockets anymore, which is really sad. I think that's the thing, like when you get married, you're supposed to start handing out red pockets. But I don't get money anymore, but at least now Charlotte can have money. And first Chinese New Year's Eve. So first Chinese New Year's. Okay, great. So I am on to, oh my gosh, I only have 10 minutes left. I think this is an hour class. I better hurry. So I'm going on to the next day, which I think what I'll do is a slipper sticker. And then I'm going to do one of these. My washi tape, come on. Up here. I'm going to cover that up. I already know what I'm going to set up for the weekend, so I might do that real quick because I saw this large sticker earlier on here. That was the clear stickers. Where did it go? Oh, here. This one is so cute, and I thought that would be really cute for a weekend. There are clear stickers in this book, so they are completely see-through. But basically, I'm gonna stick this over the weekend, and it's okay that there's some gray because we have the little banner up here. So I'm just gonna put that down, and then I'm gonna put in take a break. So that is my weekend. Just something real quick because I knew this is take a break. Let's put it down like this. Awesome. Okay, and then need to put, oh, I kind of want something for this box down here. I think I'm going to cover that up with this box and then leave the bottom section for one of my large stickers. Okay, perfect. Large sticker, nighttime. This is perfect. Go to sleep. Here we go. And I also wanted to use some of these. There's these really nice circle ones. If I can find them. These circle ones are great. So they're nice to layer down here on Friday. Yes. Okay. So I have face mask, which is perfect for this. So I'm just going to stick that right here, and then I can write down face mask. What else did I do? Late post, new releases. Okay, so that is work related stuff. I'm going to use one of these stickers again. I love gold so much. Maybe a 4. Okay, so I can put down 4 checklists. And then I'm going to write down that I had new releases. So I picked out a sticker just for that, just one of these foiled stickers. And what I'm going to do is put down a little label behind it just so it covers up the whole area. Where are my new releases ones? Oh, here they are. Okay, so this is, let's go with pink. So here's just a little label for dividing it. I'm gonna put new releases in here. That was Friday. Don't need this one. And that is great. So this is actual Chinese New Year's, but I think this is enough for me. And I'm gonna do new release, oops, restock. We have oops bags that are like not 100% perfect stickers, but a lot of people love them because they are like a random grab bag. So it's a really nice way to try out stickers for a discounted price. And so we've got pick up cookies. I ordered some cookies for Valentine's Day. And then the last thing was work on Michael's content. So I designed Michael's stuff back here. Design Michael's. Mom cooks, Charlotte slept. Okay. And the baby sleeps well. This is great. So Charlotte sleeps well again. I'll use this sticker. Success Munchkin. Slept well. And Mom cooks at night. We had hot pot that day, so I'm covering this up again. And I will just use this hot pot sticker that I've got from Happy Daya, another, I think they're in Malaysia, or no, Thailand. I really like their stuff. Okay, so Mom cooks, and then early night. There we go. Okay, on to the weekend. Got to rush through the weekend. Oh, there's not much actually, so that's great. The weekend I had a massage. I picked out a R&T sticker already, and some self-care. It's just great. Like the self-care time is so perfect. Self-care with a massage sticker, and I can just quickly write down RMT so that I know what that was. And then I think what I'll do is put a label over this. No, on this side. Oh, so it actually kind of randomly snowed. I was supposed to have lunch, but because of a random snowstorm, we weren't able to go to lunch. So here's a sticker from Wonton a Million. Her stickers are also in Michael's, I think. I'm not sure if they sold out already, but she did do a Michael's collaboration previously. So if you like her stickers, you can pick them up there as well. And then nighttime, I'm going to use one of these, a large box sticker, and just plop that down here. So Charlotte Fussy Night, I think that was her leap, which sucks. I also felt super nauseous, which is no fun. I'll pop this up here. Super fussy. And right before nighttime was decorate Valentine's cookies. Okay. Hey, this is great. So we did, it's just like a cookie set that I think I've kind of shown you guys. And this is a sticker from Stick with Chim. She's another Vancouver local girl and I love her so much. So I'm going to use that for decorating cookies. Decorate cookies. I didn't have a bath, but that's fine. I'm just going to leave that there. And then Sunday, I actually did, oh wow. So I filmed my Michael's content and everything on Sunday. That's kind of cool. I'm going to put in a pink, maybe. Let's just use this to block off the day. A little bit of this. Oh, here. Okay. Purple is probably the one that I want. So important. Email. I had to email all the artwork over. So that was important. And this was a design day, which means that I'm going to pick out a pencil sticker. So this one is from Lovely Mind. She does amazing artwork, but that's just what I'm gonna do. So design Michael's stuff. I wonder if I was designing this stuff back then. I can't remember. Maybe I was. Or no, I don't know. That was last year. That makes no sense. Okay, and then I just got another full box. So I'll actually use a checklist for this one. I'm gonna put down a washi underneath the checklist, or above the checklist, I mean. I'm gonna put that down, checklist. I think I emailed Emily, who is on here. And then check draft. All right, and then some other work stuff is my own layout listings. Okay, and then I feel like 3 is enough for, so 3 were work related things. The other stuff is home. So I'm actually going to cover the home ones up with a label. I'll just cover this up so it gives me a nice divider. I can continue using the same sticker. And then I'll just write home. I did have date night, so I'm gonna put that in. Date night, my husband and I played, there's this like phone game called Simulacra, I think. So that is pretty much what we did. We didn't do anything for Valentine's Day, not with a baby. And it was just, I think we made cards, we ate cookies, and we played a phone game. And then last of all, what does it say here? Okay, so she actually slept 10 hours. That is crazy. Probably the best gift ever. Because she slept, we can put down maybe a pink. Okay, a pink is great. And I'm just gonna put this down right here. Baby slept 10 hours. I'm gonna put down a baby sticker. Here's a baby munchkin. Pop that down over here. Slept 10 hours. Okay, so I've pretty much finished my entire week. The top is still a little bit bare, which I'm going to be decorating with some deco stickers. And all I have to do now is the left side on here. So I wear retainers at night, and basically that's something I have to track because I'm not great at that. But I always track my retainer wearing. And then I think this was Chinese New Year's, right? So first, it's Chinese New Year's for Sophie is my dog, and Charlotte is the baby. So first Chinese New Year for Sophie and Charlotte. And I will stick a little star next to that. And then what else was the other? Oh, it was Valentine's Day. So man, Valentine's Day. I can put down take a break. I didn't have coffee, but this kind of reminds me of eating the cookies. So I think that's what I'll do. Take a break on Valentine's Day. V-Day as parents. Definitely totally different. V-Day as parents. And this is, I was super tired. I have some things kind of like anxiety. Here is my tired stickers with panda eyes. I'll use a panda one actually. Thank you. I'm gonna put this over here. There's a struggling munchkin down here too. So that matches. Okay, so there is my week. The one last thing that I wanted to fill in was my dentist thing, which I think I will use probably just a heart. No, a star. Okay, I'm just gonna put a star right there. And then I think it looks pretty good, but the top part is a little bit bare for my liking. So what I'm gonna do for that is to actually put down some more washi from the previous sheet that I used. So this is the same sheet that I used for down here. I'm actually gonna pull this off, and then I'm just gonna put this on the top to add a little more color to the spread. So put that down there. I'll use my washi card to cut this. This is thin enough. And then I will put the same thing down on the other side. Okay, and then I'll use this to cut that as well. Awesome. So that's my top and bottom. And since there are so many decorative stickers in this kit, which is really great, I'm actually going to add some things in here. So we've got the little sleeping munchkin. I can put sleeping munchkin down here. Sleep is like a real dream for me. So I'll put that in here. You can just decorate the bottom as you like. You don't have to decorate it, but I think it's just pretty cute. We have some little moon ones. So I can put some moons, some stars. I kind of like especially because they're black, they pop really nicely. So I like the little black outlines on here. Oh, we've got the double star. And then I can add some even more stars up at the top. So this is just the final part. I just kind of like dress up my week with some decorations. You can pull stickers from anywhere. The washi card. Oh, so the washi card, I sell the washi card in my shop. Lots of stores do sell the washi cards though. So I got this one from Meg from Grin and Barrett. So there's like large acrylic cards, and I think you just have to you could probably look up washi card on Etsy. But I do have some in my shop. If anybody is interested, actually, I'm gonna do a special sale for you guys to thank you guys for watching. So if you are interested in washi cards, I think I have some extras. I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of them. But yeah, if you guys order during the sale, you can just leave a note washi card and I can pop one in for free for you guys. So here we go. So lots of stars. I think that looks super decorated, and that I'm gonna leave just this part. I like these two sides highlighted, and that's pretty much it. So that is my whole spread for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really, I feel really nervous, but I think it turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with it, and hopefully that gave you some inspiration on how you can use your stickers. The Michael stickers are all on sale on the website, and again, I'm going to do a special sale just to thank you guys for watching. So if you use the code Michaels, it's MICHAELS, you can get 15% off my shop for the next 24 hours. And if you just want to pop in a note in your order that you are interested in a washi card, we can just throw one in for you as well. So I think that's all. Do you guys have any questions? I'm going to try and look up at the screen now so I can see. Thank you guys so much for watching. That was actually pretty fun. Oh, can you see Sophie? Do we have time to show Sophie? I'll see if I can bring, my website is oncemorewithlove.com. So do I have anything that has my website on it? Oh, here. I wonder if you guys can see. No, that's actually, yeah, it's oncemorewithlove.com. I must have a sticker sheet. Come on, this is like the worst. Here you go. Once More with Love. Hi, Sen. You watch too. Am I gonna put the Michaels? I can't see the whole comment. I'm gonna assume you mean like selling it on my site. I think I can reorder when the next time they reorder so that it's available for international customers. But yeah, right now they are just available at Michael's. Oh my gosh, Tina. All right. Tina is my manager and she is downstairs watching me. Okay, so do you guys have any other questions? I hope this is everything. Can't see us. Thanks, Sandra. Oh, the cutting tool is, so this one is called EK. Am I even showing this? EK Tools by Slice. Yeah. It's just a slice tool. They actually have a different version that's held more like a handhold one. I like using this because I like using it like a pen. But yeah, you can just look up slice tool. I think Amazon, Staples, they all have it. Day planner. So the day planner that I have is this one. It's from Recollections. I kept this information down here so you can see. This one's a Recollections 18-month spiral planner. It's actually dated for July 2021 to December, so that's why I had to change the dates on here. And it is 7.5 by 9.25 inch. Yeah, and it's great. So you've got kind of like an introduction to the planner. You've got your year as a view, some stickers in here too. I always forget about these. I might just pull these out so that I remember to use them. Oh, these are so cute. And then there's a sticker. This sheet is the same material that I have on my sticker books. So these are my sticker books that I've been keeping stuff in. And if you've seen, like, I'm able to just like pull stickers on and off from here. So they have one of these sheets in here, which is great because then if you know that you wanted to use a sticker, you can just pop it on here and save it for later, and you can pull it off anytime. So that's one of the sheets, some folios. And then this is what the month looks like. You've got your whole monthly view as well as the vertical view. I like planning vertically. Some people like horizontal, so it's totally up to you. But this one is the Recollections Planner. And it's pretty big. It's a really nice size for kind of like keeping your memories in. The small one. Oh, where did I put it? So the small one is a Jibun Teko. I got this from Jet Pens, and it's actually like a Japanese brand, and it has the Tomoe River paper because I like using my fountain pens in here. So this one is, yeah, it's a Japanese one. It's called Jibun Teko.
Alrighty, it looks like those are the only questions we have. Thank you so much for teaching today's class, Margaret. You did an amazing job.
Thank you. It was fun.
And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in.